Hey guys, this video was requested by our viewers, so it's a little bit different than what we're normally used to doing.
You may have heard us hinting in previous videos that later this year we plan on quitting our jobs and traveling full-time.
So in this video, we're going to talk about why this decision came about at this point in our life and how we're even able to do this financially.
And don't worry, starting next week, we're right back to doing more videos on outdoor stuff, adventures, and overlanding again. But if you're interested in this financial piece and how we're able to do that this year, leave a comment down below and maybe we could do some private videos and discuss that more in depth. By the end of this video, we're going to go over two of the most important steps that we took to create financial independence.
So a few years ago, a coworker of mine died in their cubicle at work. And this person was in their late 50s, early 60s, and they never got to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They never got to enjoy retirement, never got to sail into the sunset. They literally died in their cubicle at work. So for some reason, this incident was a wake-up call for me. Now, we could keep working for another 20 years of our lives. We could probably make a lot more money, or we could permanently quit our jobs now and enjoy life. Or we could just take a break from work, take a few years off, do a life reset, and explore some other possibilities. Or we could just look for areas that we're passionate in that have a better work-life balance. Now, there's nothing wrong with work, especially if you love what you do, but we had to ask ourselves, how much is enough? Or what about pursuing other work that aligns more with our passions rather than being stuck in the daily rat race? So we had to ask ourselves, if we have enough financial independence and passive income now to where we don't have to work, then why wait? Because like my coworker, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Now, we're not having a midlife crisis. Or maybe we are. Maybe we're having our own eat, pray, love, time of our lives. I don't know. But we're not running away from responsibilities. But I think taking a break to travel, it really satisfies our basic curiosity to explore what else is out there, to get away from the normal daily routine, to get away from the rat race, and to really look and explore what else is out there in this world? What other possibilities might there be? And I think that's healthy for the soul. So we're consciously pursuing this non-traditional path because this non-traditional path gives us more freedom, more flexibility, more adventures, more travel, instead of continuing to pursue the daily rat race. So also, we understand that we're incredibly blessed to even be in the situation to be able to do this. Because let's be honest, for most people, this is financially not even an option. And I think that's another reason why we feel the need that we have to seize this opportunity now.
We know that the last year has been a horrible year for most people as far as work, travel, losing friends and family, and that has all been devastating parts of this year. But on the flip side, the last 12 months have been amazing for investments across the board. Cryptocurrency like Bitcoin went from a low of 5,000 and then it skyrocketed to a high of over 45,000 at the time of making this video.
Yeah, it was funny. Jenny didn't even know that years back, I had bought some Bitcoin and really didn't even tell her about it. And then recently I was like, hey, guess what?
Surprise!
Yeah.
One stock that we sold was up over 1,500% over the last 12 months. The S&P 500 alone is up about 17% in the last 12 months. And with so many people staying home during COVID, the real estate market is up about 14% in some markets.
Now, while this may sound amazing to some of you, or maybe it sounds too good to be true to some of you others, we want to stress to you that this past year is really a culmination of years of planning and following a specific path to be able to get to financial independence and to be able to retire early. We didn't just wake up 12 months ago and decide to make this happen.
Right, this is actually a surprise to me too. I knew you were investing, Lance, but I had no idea how good some of these stocks and investments were doing.
Yeah, some of our stock and certainly our crypto investments were all purchased like 4 or 5 years ago, back when nobody was talking about any of this stuff. And some of our real estate investments were purchased 12 years ago, back when we had the last real estate and financial crash in 2008, 2009, we saw that as a time to grab some investments that were, a good deal at the time, but we had to wait 12 years to see the fruits of those investments.
We really want to make it clear that this was a long process of ups and downs, and we didn't always stay 100% true to our financial plan. And life happens, and we also had some unexpected events happen as well.
So let me back up to where this all started. The year was 2000. Eminem, Outkast, Three Doors Down were on the radio. Jenny and I had just been married a couple years this time, and Jenny was pregnant with our daughter. And I had just quit my secure job to start my career as a financial planner.
Have you ever heard of a drug called Benadryl? Rocco!
Newly married, second child on the way. See, you can see already I wasn't that smart. But at this time, the stock market was flying high with tech stocks, things like Lucent Technologies and Qualcomm and AOL. And everybody thought they couldn't lose. But then it all came crashing down. So over the next 2 years, I worked with people who lost 40, 50, even 60% of their retirement savings because they were heavily invested in technology stocks without even doing an assessment of the risk or volatility of these types of investments. But I also got to work with another group of people as well. Millionaires, rich people, people that had built a lot of wealth. And it's not what you probably imagine. I remember this one old guy came to our office in an old beat up pickup truck, wearing a pair of overalls, and looking at him, you would have never guessed this guy was worth millions. I remember when I sat down and talked to him, he couldn't even remember all the investments he had and all the stuff that he owned. So the strange thing was, people like this guy and some others, really, they weren't in a panic over the stock market and where their retirement accounts were at. It was almost as if they didn't really care that the stock market had crashed. So because I was behind the scenes and I got to see what was going on with their financials, I realized why these people weren't in a panic. It was because they were heavily diversified across multiple different investment classes. Now, when I say diversified, I don't mean diversified like a mutual fund or a bond fund, because those investments are still tied to the markets and political decisions. By diversified, I mean these people had money in the markets, they had money in commodities, they had money in real estate investments, they had money in businesses, they had money in silent partner businesses. I mean, I remember some people, just in real estate alone, some people owned commercial property, they owned residential property, they owned raw land that they were getting mineral rights for. I mean, there was so many variances to the diversification of the type of investments that these people had. So essentially their money and their risk was spread out. So when the market crashed, they still had money coming in from real estate, from commodities, from businesses and things like that. And what I saw from their financials was when one asset class went down, like the market, other asset classes were still going up, like commodities or real estate. So they were making money no matter what happened. So they were hedging their investments across numerous different types of investment vehicles, not just like a 401k or an IRA, and not just things that were tied to a market. So this gave them less risk overall, and it made them so they were making money no matter what the economy or the market conditions were. Now, I hope I didn't lose you guys there. Now, rather than getting all geeky and talking about which investment does the best or which investment class has the greatest yields, yada, 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 I mean, you can go on Reddit for that type of stuff. So we want to explain to you the first 2 steps that everyone has to take if they want to retire early, create financial independence, or if they just want to take time off from work and travel like we are. So these first 2 steps, I know logically in my brain, I understand how they work, I know what I need to do. But emotionally, over the years, this was really hard for me, and it took a lot of discipline in order to do this. So because I struggled with this personally, let me bring back my frugal partner in crime, my wife, who never wants to spend money on anything.
Step 1, to retire early or to have financial independence or to get out of the rat race, is to live below your means. I know this sounds boring, but this is a very important first step for fueling financial independence. We noticed when we started working, every time our income went up, so did our lifestyle. We went from Toyotas to luxury cars, from apartments to like new subdivisions, and we were always trying to keep up with the Joneses. This happens really easy, and sometimes people don't realize it. I know when Lance and I caught ourselves, we had to really fight the temptation to live at our income level and instead live below our means and then invest the difference. When we live below our means, countless opportunities open up in the financial world for you. Many of our investments were built because when opportunities would arise, we had cash on hand to act and invest wisely.
Yeah, imagine if you would have had $10,000 on hand last March when the stock market corrected due to the COVID pandemic. Even if you would have put it in like an index fund, you'd be up over 40% right now.
Living below your means might sound easy, but it can be really difficult at times because there's always going to be things that you want, but you can't afford. Whether it be a bigger house, a new car, a new phone or toy, we really had to ask ourselves, are any of these things really going to make us truly happy? There comes a point when you really need to ask yourself, is this the life I dreamed of? Am I happy? Am I making a life or am I just making a living?
Yeah, spending is something that I really struggled with because I like to buy things. And there was a point in time where I was changing out my cars like I was changing out outfits. So this is something that I had to work on every single day, and I still do. So almost everybody we know that has reached financial independence and early retirement has had to learn to live below their means. A lot of people lived on 80% of their income, 70% of their income, or even 50% of their income or less, and then invested the rest.
Investing at least 25% seems to be the sweet spot for financial independence and early retirement. The more that you invest and the less that you spend, the quicker you reach your goals.
Yeah, to be completely honest, we probably could have retired a lot sooner if I would have learned to implement these strategies a lot sooner in life. Even though like logically I understood these things and I read about them in my 20s, it wasn't until later in life when I really got serious and disciplined and started implementing these things into our life.
Step 2 is obviously being debt-free. Ridding yourself of debt is extremely important. After all, debt is really going against the grain of financial responsibility. Most importantly, like we mentioned before, investing and wealth planning is extremely difficult if you don't have any money to invest. After living below your means, getting out of debt is usually the next thing that people need to learn how to do when they're getting started to work toward financial independence. Unfortunately, though, getting out of debt looks a lot easier on paper than it is in reality. After all, charging a new pair of shoes to your credit card and saying that you'll pay it off later is really easy to do. That's why in the pursuit of escaping debt, you really need to have a debt-free mindset and also have a budget and stick to it. Escaping debt and avoiding those impulse purchases takes a ton of mental fortitude. That's why people like Dave Ramsey have built empires on trying to help people get out of debt because it's just so hard for so many.
So for some of us, buying things makes us feel happy, maybe even luxurious. Did you know that 78% of the people that buy Rolexes make less than $100,000 a year? I think that means that a lot of us are buying luxury items because we want to appear wealthy. Many of us want that illusion of wealth and success. And to be honest, I've fallen into that trap myself at many times during my life.
However, there is a big difference between buying things on credit and having the appearance of wealth and true balance sheet wealth.
So true balance sheet wealth, what Jenny was talking about, is when you list all of your liabilities in one column. So your credit cards, your loans, your cars, your mortgages, anything that takes money out of your pocket every month, that's a liability. Then in the other column, you list all of your assets, your savings, your investments, your retirement, maybe your real estate that produces income for you. Well, when your assets far exceed your liabilities, that's true balance sheet wealth.
The sure way to build wealth, retire early, and achieve financial independence is to live below your means, pay off your debt, and invest in as many assets as possible, and to buy as few liabilities as possible. Liabilities take money out of your pocket, like buying boats, like credit card debt, like loan payments, and assets put money into your pocket, like real estate investment, stocks, and passive income.
So everyone pursues financial independence and early retirement for different reasons. Some people are just burnt out with their day job. Some people just want a slower lifestyle with less stress. Some people want to spend the best years of their life doing something that just is more meaningful to them.
In the coming months, you're gonna see we're not gonna be just laying on the beach with a cocktail in our hand every day.
Wait, seriously?
We're gonna be traveling, volunteering, consulting, helping people in need, and just doing things that truly matter while having some great adventures. That's why you hear us say in so many of our videos that we're embracing the next chapter, simplifying our lives, exploring our dreams, and connecting with what truly matters. We really want to live out this mission.
So guys, this journey is just the beginning. I mean, we haven't even started traveling yet. We've got a plan to travel to over 30 countries in the next 2 years, and we're gonna show you the best places to live, visit, maybe retire, places where you can live like a king and queen for a lot less money and do some good along the way.
So stay tuned and stay crazy.